Good morning, dear students. This is part 2 of chapter 9, that is heredity and evolution. Okay, already part 1 we have done, and I hope you like that part. Now we'll continue with this part 2. Let me show you what we are going to do today in this part 2, and we'll do two topics over here. The first one is how do traits get expressed, and then sex determination. Okay, so let me start with how do traits get expressed. Now the question is, how does the mechanism of heredity work? Okay, to get the answer of this question, let us discuss some points before. See, you know the DNA in the cellular is the information source. In a cell, nucleus is there. Inside the nucleus, chromosomes are there. In chromosomes, we will get DNA, and that DNA is the information source for making proteins in the cell. A section of DNA that provides information for one protein is called the gene for that protein. Now, the question is, how do proteins control the characteristic that we are discussing over here? For that, we need to give you the example of any characteristic. So let me take the example of tallness as the characteristic, and then we will discuss this point. See, you know that plants have hormones that can trigger their growth. Okay, so plant height can thus depend on the amount of a particular plant hormone. The amount of the plant hormone made will depend on the efficiency of the process for making it. Now consider an enzyme that is important for this process. Okay, if the enzymes work efficiently, a lot of hormone will be made and the plant will be tall. If the gene for that enzyme has an alteration, anyhow, if it is changed, so what will happen? At that time, enzyme will become less efficient and the amount of hormone will also be less, and the result will be the plant will be short. So this is the simple mechanism. How does the heredity work? If there is any little change in the enzyme, the character that is transferred to the new generation will be changed. Okay, so what we can say after this discussion? We can say that genes control characteristics or traits. So what are the controller of characteristics? That is gene. If the interpretation of Mendelian experiments we have been discussing are correct, then according to Mendel's experiment, both parents must be contributing equally to the DNA of the progeny during sexual reproduction. If both the parents they can help determine the trait in the progeny, then both the parents must be contributing a copy of the same gene. This means that each pea plant must have two sets of all genes, one inherited from each parent. According to Mendel's experiment, these are the conclusions. For this mechanism to work, each germ cell must have only one gene set. Now, how do germ cells make a single set of genes from the normal two copies that all other cells in the body have? If progeny plants they inherited a single whole gene set from each parent, then the experiment that we are seeing over here in 9.5 figure, that experiment will not work properly. The experiment will not be successful. Okay, so why it is? It is because two characteristic R and Y, that R is for round and Y is for yellow, that would then be linked to each other and cannot be independently inherited. Okay, so this is explained by the fact that each gene set is present not as a single long thread of DNA, but as separate independent piece, and that piece is called chromosome. So now it is clear that chromosomes are transferred from parent to the child for a particular characteristic. And here in picture you can see this is cell. Inside the cell you can see the nucleus, in nucleus chromosome, and in chromosome this DNA structure is there. Okay, and this DNA is made up of proteins. If construction of this DNA is changed, the characters will also be changed. So now each cell will have two copies of each chromosome, one each from male and female parent. So it is clear now. Every germ cell will take one chromosome from each pair, and then these may be of either maternal or paternal origin. When two germ cells combine, they will restore the normal number of chromosomes in the progeny and ensuring the stability of the DNA of the species. Such a mechanism of inheritance explains the results of Mendel experiments and that is used by all sexually reproducing organisms. But asexually reproducing organism also follow similar rules of inheritance. So this was the rule of inheritance, how the characters are inherited from parent to the child. The child will take one chromosome from each, from father or from mother. Here is the chromosome. This is like X. Okay. One chromosome is carried from mother and the another one is from father. And the whole information is passed from parental generation to the new generation. Here is another topic, that is sex determination. How is the sex of a newborn individual determined? Whether the newborn will be boy or a girl. How can it be determined? Different species use very different strategy for this. Some species rely entirely on environmental cues. Thus, in some animals, the temperature at which fertilized eggs are kept determines whether the animals developing in the eggs will be male or female. So, for some species, temperature is a very important factor. In some animals, such as snail, individual can change sex. Means they will behave, the same individual will behave like male and female. Okay, so it is not genetically determined. But in human beings, the sex of individual is largely genetically determined. In other words, we can say the genes inherited from the parent decide whether the child will be boy or a girl. So how it is determined? Let me discuss in further in slides. Okay. Humans have 23 pairs of chromosome. Whether it is male or female, every person has 23 pairs of chromosomes. Out of those 23 pairs of chromosomes, 22 pairs of numbered chromosomes called autosomes. Okay, and these 22 pairs are same in male also and female also. But the 23rd pair, okay, that is called sex hormone, X and Y. Women have perfect pair of sex chromosome and both are X. On the other hand, men have a mismatched pair in which one is X but the another one is Y. Okay, so a woman have X chromosome and while men have X and Y. Did you get it? There are 23 pair of chromosomes. 22 pairs of chromosomes are same in male and female. 23rd pair of chromosome in male is XX, sorry, in female is XX, but in male is X and Y. Where is my red pointer? Let me show you it. Okay, it is here. Men have XY and women have X and X. This Y is shorter one. Okay, this X and Y, here it is X and X. XX and XY. So this 23rd pair of chromosome is responsible for the sex determination of newborn child. Okay, Half of the children will be boys and half of the children will be girls. All the children, whether they are boys or girls, they will inherit an X chromosome from their mother. Okay? And the sex of the child will be determined by what they inherit from their father. If they inherit X, then the child will be girl. And if they inherit Y, then the child will be boy. Okay? So now it is clear whether the child will be boy or a girl. It depends on the chromosome that is inherited by the child from father. So only the father is responsible for the sex of the newborn child. Mother is not responsible anyhow. Here are the structure of chromosome X and chromosome Y. Here are some questions. Let me discuss these questions with you. The first one is, how do Mendel's experiments show that traits may be dominant or recessive? Okay, next question is, how do Mendel's experiments show that the traits are inherited independently? Okay, that also we discuss in this session. A man with blood group A marries a woman with blood group O, and their daughter has blood group O. Is this information enough to tell you which of the trait, blood group A or O, is dominant? Okay, why or why not? And now the fourth question is, how is the sex of the child determined in the human beings? Right now, just in previous slide, we have discussed this fourth question. Okay, so now let me give you the answer of first question. How do Mendel's experiments show that traits may be dominant or recessive? Here is the answer. Mendel showed that the traits can either be dominant or recessive, and this he showed in his experiment. The experiment of tall plants and short plants with pea plants he did, and the resultant plants which form after fertilization represent the F1 generation, and all the F1 generation plants were tall. Do you remember that we discussed in previous slides? Okay, and when this generation will self-pollinate, the final generation will be tall and short, and 1/4 of the plants will be short. Okay, and from this experiment only Mendel concluded that F1 tall plants were not true breeding. Instead, they carried the traits for both tall and short character. A portion of the plants were tall due to the fact that the traits for tallness were dominant over the traits for shortness or dwarfness. Okay. Now, what is the second question? How do Mendel's experiments show that traits are inherited independently? For that, we'll consider the second experiment he did. There he took the characteristics like yellow color or green color and then round shaped pea. Okay, so in this experiment, F1 generation he took, and then F2 generation. So if you remember, I showed you the slides in which the ratio of different characters of the pea were shown, and this was like 9:3, 3:1. Means 9 plants were there with yellow and round seeds, 3 plants were there with round but green peas, and 3 plants were there with wrinkled with yellow colored seeds, and 1 with wrinkled green seeds. Okay, and further observation was that wrinkled and green peas were round and yellow are parental combines, while the round green and wrinkled yellow are new. So this was the cross between two seeds with dominant traits. And what were the dominant traits? Dominant traits were RRYY. Okay. And what was the known dominant traits? If you remember, the known dominant traits was RR, small rr, and YY. Okay. So the production of 4 types of gametes were there. Capital R, capital Y, capital R, small r, capital Y, small r, small y. This means each of the gametes segregate independently of the other, and each with a frequency of 25% of the total gametes produced. The answer of third question is, he is asking whether the information is proper or not. Okay. So here the given information is not enough to tell us which characteristic will be dominant, whether it will be blood group A or blood group B. Okay. Blood group A is always dominant in ABO blood and blood O is always recessive. The father's blood group may be genotypically AA or AO, whereas that of mother can be OA or OO. Okay, so the information is not uh, proper or complete. Sex determination of the child. In previous slide, we discussed in detail that there are 23 pairs of chromosome in any human being, whether it is female or male. 22 pairs of chromosomes are same, but it is 23rd pair of chromosome that is not same in both, and that is sex chromosome. It combines with XX in female and XY in male. Okay. So thank you, students. It was there in part 2. I hope you understood it well. Now we'll meet in part 3 of chapter 9.